What is good, YouTube? Warstu here with a video on The Flash Season 4, Arrow Season 6, Supergirl Season 3 and Legends of Tomorrow Season 3. Now this is going to be a review stroke breaking down the Crisis on Earth X CW DC TV crossover that we had this week that I did enjoy. But some people were saying it was better than a Justice League movie. I don't know how you can say a kind of low budget TV show is better than a high budget movie that included Wonder Woman. So yeah, that's just kind of references. So it's going to be a bit of an improv. So the crossovers started on Supergirl, then went over to Arrow, then went over to The Flash, then went over to Legends. There was absolute some epic moments of madness, which created some awesome TV moments. But then there was some ludicrous moments that kind of made the crossover think, what was the point of ending the crossover in such a way? So the things I did really like was the fact that during the opening scenes, a lady came up to Barry Allen that said she was a waitress working at the wedding and just said, make sure, Barry, that you say I do. So a lot of people are thinking this is going to be Barry Allen's daughter from the future, or descent from, like, basically a relation from the future. So does this spell out to the audience that something catastrophic is going to happen with Barry and Iris in the future? Because she said, make sure you say I do, and then he did say that. So it's very interesting how I was expecting to see this girl in a different episode, but she just literally had a 2-second cameo. She looked more like Gypsy's daughter. If you put a image of her and Gypsy next to each other, they actually look like they were related. So what's interesting is basically you could like sum this crossover up pretty quick. The wedding gets interrupted by the kind of Nazis and the kind of evil Earth X, Earth 53 doppelgangers. They find out what the issue is, they find out what they're after, the problem gets solved, and then that's it. So not really, like, factually, there wasn't really much that happened, but there were some interesting points. During the kind of fight with Supergirl and Overgirl, she slapped her hands together and created some sonic boom, which she's never done before. I mean, if she does that on, like, villains on her TV show later on down the line, and then like literally no one could take her out because she took everyone out, and this damaged Overgirl. And the whole narrative was basically to heal Overgirl, which ultimately failed. But what's interesting is we had Green Arrow versus Earth X Green Arrow, who was in fact Oliver Queen. So it's interesting seeing Oliver Queen fight Oliver Queen, and obviously Oliver Queen from Earth X was in charge. He was the big boss. He was in charge of everything in some sense, but really it seemed like Overgirl was running everything. He did everything for Overgirl, and it was really interesting seeing Oliver and Kara being in a relationship. For me, it seems like they had a lot more chemistry than actually Mono and Kara do. But that's not even a thing on Supergirl anymore. So what was interesting is we didn't really get Blitzen from Earth X or Barry Allen from Earth X. We got Season 1 Reverse Flash, as we had a lot of references to the wheelchair Reverse Flash. I built the Star Labs, I used to work here. He kept referencing. He wanted the audience to make sure we knew that he was Eobard Thawne. Eobard Thawne will always exist in every timeline. I've seen a few comments on Twitter with people not understanding how Eobard Thawne was exist. Where if you remember in the Season 2 finale, he basically said that he spread himself out through history. So even if one version of him gets taken out, if you remember, Killer Frost took out Reverse Flash. No, Killer Frost took out Savitar, Black Flash. That's a completely different story. But this is like random freestyle. So if you remember, Black Flash took out Reverse Flash in the season finale of Legends of Tomorrow, because obviously White Canary used the Spear of Destiny. So everyone thought, oh, when was he going to return? But the interesting thing was Barry bested him. I mean, Barry's never been able to best him because the Reverse Flash is obviously from the future. So how could Barry Allen out best him until we get to a later timeline date? So it was interesting. He said, what face will I have when I appear? So what I think he should have is, I think he should return as Barry Allen in Barry Allen's face. similar to a storyline in the comic books where Reverse Flash was pretending to be Barry Allen. So that'd be interesting if he returned as Barry Allen. I think that would be a pretty cool storyline. What I found interesting was they were trying to basically use Supergirl to save Overgirl, and ultimately Overgirl exploded, and then Kara had to kind of fly her up into space to blow up so it didn't blow up kind of Earth 1, Prime Earth, which you're having. And ultimately it was kind of an interesting crossover. There were moments of coolness. I think the acting with Martin Stein and Jefferson was pretty cool. It was pretty sad when he died, but it was kind of obvious that was going to happen. But what I think is going to happen is, I think Martin Stein's baby, his grandson, I think he's going to turn into Firestorm. They're going to go to the future, pick up a version of this baby, and then that baby will merge with Jefferson, and then the Firestorm will be back at some point if they go down that line, if Legends Tomorrow lasts that long. So I think that's a pretty cool moment. I mean, the whole narrative was Barry and Iris getting married, and it was ruined from the get-go with Felicity saying, I don't want to marry you. Then all of a sudden, bear in mind this happens over the space of 4 hours in our time, and like 4 days, I guess you could say. So she goes from the space of I don't want to marry to you, to right at the end of the episode ruining the whole crossover, saying I want to marry you, let's get married, and Barry and Iris not really being bothered about it. I mean, the problem with these crossovers are they had different directors for each episode, so I don't understand why they would want to finish a crossover on a wedding that wasn't even the main wedding. It ended with Oliver and Felicity getting married, and that's just a train wreck that's going to go over to their season finale, which the main narrative for their season finale is a wedding reception, and someone inside Team Arrow outed them. So I don't understand why the kind of level of Arrow's writing has gone from season 5 level from last season right down to worse than season 4. The internet is absolutely outraged with the kind of I don't want to marry you, and then 2 hours later they end up getting married, and she's like, I want to be with you, I want to be with you. It just feels so forced. I mean, Felicity, the character, she can't do emotional scenes. This Olicity, it seems so forced. We are only 8 episodes in, and she's just about to move in with him, they're getting married, when last season there was nothing really. I mean, I know that Mark Guggenheim and Wendy like to feed Olicity fans, but what they've got to understand is the majority of the fans who actually watch the show for not Felicity, they watch the show for the stories, don't care about the Olicity stuff. So I think they've literally just train wrecked Arrow. Everything they built up with Josh Segarra, kind of Prometheus storyline last year, has been trashed. They're going to have one hell of a backstory coming in the back half of the season. I mean, the whole Black Siren thing, why wasn't Black Siren involved? I mean, if Black Siren met like Earth X Lance, that would have been very interesting. Obviously Lance was one of the German commanders on Earth X, and he said he killed his Sarah because she was a lesbian and gay, and that's the whole part of the Ray. The Ray was the first male, well, lesbian or LBG character, I guess you could say, because you can't really include Mr. Terrific, to be honest, because he's not on the main show of The Flash. And the Ray was kind of an interesting character, because the Ray, I don't know how, he was just as fast as Barry Allen. I don't know how these people that write the show, I'm the fastest man alive, yet the Ray could keep up with him. I mean, I could understand if it was Superman, because that's obviously iconic to comic books, and they have had medical races, they've had the Justice League race, so yeah, Superman keeping up with the Flash would make sense, but the Ray, not so much. I mean, they took out Red Tornado pretty easy, but Red Tornado is really kind of strong in the Justice League of America. If you go by the kind of GLA storylines, he's very strong. So it did make sense how it took him quite a while. Massive upgrade from the Red Tornado that we got in the Supergirl season, so props to them. Metallo was a massive upgrade, but ultimately it was literally every superhero on Metallo that was kind of interesting. And yeah, I don't know why I didn't go more version of that kind of Metallo, but I guess it's budgeting. They had a really high budget for this crossover. I mean, Firestorm actually used his fire. It was interesting how Stein did die, essentially letting them get back to Earth 1 to save the day. So I think his death is warranted, and I think as soon as he said he was going to Broadway, it's kind of like he should have announced this after the crossover. I mean, they do give away too much. There was no real surprise. The only real surprise on the whole crossover was the fact that it wasn't Earth X Blitzen or Earth X Barry Allen. It was Reverse Flash Season 1. I mean, I absolutely loved the wheelchair scene when it was spinning around Star Labs. That was kind of funny, and Kara is saying, my cousin had a fight with you once, and then Reverse Flash was like, yeah, he's fast, but he's not as fast as me. That line was cool. And then we had the whole Atom coming in, because Atom played Superman. Then we had when Supergirl fell underground, she said it's only fitting that the Man of Steel carries you because you're a woman of steel. So there were a lot of Easter eggs in there, but ultimately it was a good crossover. But ultimately I feel like it was completely ruined. I mean, I still loved it. I still think it was really good. I've not been doing too much DC TV stuff, but I'm going to be picking up a hell of a lot now, because it's something I want to get back to my roots on. And I do think it's interesting how they decided to end it on an Olicity wedding. I mean, what was the point of West Allen getting married? Because really, ultimately, you're going to leave that show thinking, I just watched a 4-hour show for Oliver and Felicity to get married. Felicity isn't even a comic book character. She's not even in the comic books. I mean, Barry Allen and Iris West getting married, that is kind of iconic to the comic books, because then obviously they had the Tornado Twins, and then they were like, yeah, you get where I'm going. But ultimately, it was pretty good. I mean, it's a 4-hour crossover. I'm not gone over everything, but I think it was pretty interesting how we got to see a different version of Felicity. She was like one of the good people trying to save the children, trying to get them some food, and she got like captured for doing it. I really did like Lance's kind of role. He's an absolute savage, tried to kill them all, and it was kind of interesting. But ultimately, there was really no threat. This Doomsday device, ultimately, for me, it was just like last year's crossover, but better. The kind of alien invasion was more an invasion than let's get attacked by our evil versions. And then you got White Canary and Alex Danvers taking out everyone, which was kind of interesting, because if you really think about it, Reverse Flash could have just taken out everyone himself. So I don't really see the point of the other characters. And why was the Reverse Flash letting kind of Earth X and Earth X Oliver and Earth X Suit Overgirl kind of dictate to them what the plan was? Because Reverse Flash is the most powerful person in this TV show, I guess you could say, because he's the fastest, the most intelligent, he's from the future. So I don't get how the narrative was based around what Overgirl wanted. Ultimately, it was a good crossover. I'm not going to hate on it. I mean, I don't see the point in sugarcoating something, saying that yes, it was the best thing ever, when really it wasn't. Had we not had it was perfect until the last minute, where they were like, oh, let's get married, when she, in the first episode, she's like, I don't want to marry you, and then she's like 2 hours later, oh, I want to marry you. I mean, in real life, does that really happen? I don't think like someone will make that kind of split decision. But let's hope that it doesn't last, and kind of let's hope that the storyline is going the way I think it will go, and they'll kill Felicity off. But I don't think they're going to do that, because most likely Felicity's going to get her own spin-off show when Arrow ends, because of this Felicity stuff. Have I mentioned everything that I want to mention? Like I said, this is an improv review. It's just me going over what I thought. I did think it was good. There were a lot of kind of references. The Reverse Flash stuff was awesome. I really hope he comes back in Barry Allen's face, because he said, what face am I going to be wearing next? That's just like a cheeky wink at, yes, I'm going to be in the second half of the season. I know the EP said there's going to be no evil speedster villain, but they've already lied to us, because there has been an evil speedster villain already. I really liked the way Red Tornado looked. I understand why they couldn't get Superman Tyler Hoechlin on the show, because obviously the Justice League, but then you're going to think the Flash. But the Flash is already on the show. There's already got his show. It's not like they externally pulled him in. So the only other thing that was weird is, where was Martian Manhunter? I don't understand why Martian Manhunter wasn't anywhere to be seen. I mean, I guess the sonic boom clapping hands could be like Hulk's slam, because I don't know if you read the comics, but Hulk does this thing in the comics where he slams his hands together, and it creates a massive thing. So it was ultimately pretty interesting, and I really hope next year they can build upon this. Now Andrew Keisberg isn't part of anything anymore because he's being fired. Maybe Greg Berlanti can bring, I don't know, the evil Justice League or something like that. I mean, it's going to be hard to top this because they're just going to have to keep recycling storylines that can carry a narrative over for independent shows. I mean, I think having 2 Wave Riders was pretty cool. There's a lot we could go over, but a lot of it was filler stuff. I mean, a lot of the Arrow episode and Flash episode was filled with relationship stuff. I think something's clear about this crossover is they don't know how to handle relationships and emotional scenes in the Arrowverse, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, this is some my videos, spinning some ideas. Let me know in the comment box down below. What do you think? Did you like the crossover? Did you dislike the crossover? All your opinions down below. I will be doing a lot more Flash and Arrow videos, which I have been neglecting, which I feel kind of bad for. It's just due to time restraints. I don't have time to make videos all day long. If I did, I would be putting out a lot more videos, so I can only really get 1 or 2 videos out max. So I will still be pushing all the other content I have done. So I just want to thank you for all the support and love I've been getting on this channel and my other socials. They will be linked over the screen right now. Anyway, guys, please like, subscribe, and comment if you could. We're so close to 6,000 subscribers, which is amazing. This time last year, I was probably only on about 700 subscribers, so we have grown in that sense quite a lot. Anyway, guys, I'll catch you guys very soon with some more Flash and Arrow theories before the mid-season finale next week when the Flash goes up against DeVoe. I think that's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, guys, I will see you soon. Catch you later.